Hi, welcome back to Movie Review Mom. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me. Be sure and subscribe, click the like button, ring the bell. You'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Join that Facebook page and tell all your friends. Anyway, today the movie I'm reviewing is Sonic the Hedgehog. This movie is rated PG. It's 1 hour and 39 minutes. And the movie review mom grade I'm giving it is an A minus. This movie was really fun, super Sonic. Let me give you a quick nutshell overview, and then I'll give you some tips for parents, point out some interesting themes worth talking about, and then discuss the things I liked and the things I didn't like. So first of all, the popular blue hedgehog is back. Sonic the Hedgehog is a live action comedy adventure based on the video game franchise from Sega. I was pleasantly surprised because this family friendly film is much better than I expected it to be. Movies based on video games are notoriously bad, so I'm happy to announce that this movie breaks the unfortunate mold. The design team seems to really know and love Sonic, carefully including lots of details and Easter eggs that Sonic fans will really enjoy. Now, I actually got to go to a press screening and I sat next to a guy who does video game reviews on YouTube. Shout out to Lynn Hunsager. So I was really curious to hear what he was going to think of the movie. I had no expectations because I really had never played the game. My four sons had played the game, but I wasn't really hoping and expecting certain things to happen. So when I asked him before the game started what his expectations were, he said the only really one thing that he wanted was to hear the famous word Sega, like they say in the video game. So he wanted that to happen. And it almost did. I could hear him start to clap because at the beginning, it actually kind of showed a montage of Sega, and that would have been the perfect place to put it, but they didn't say it. So I know he was really bummed about that. However, even still, after the movie, his one word to describe this movie was phenomenal. That is quite an endorsement coming from a video gamer, don't you think? So I was really happy to agree with him. Mega fans and the original designer of Sonic, Naoto Oshima, absolutely hated the way that Sonic looked in the first trailer that they put out, released it last year. So because of their outrage, a new design was created and the film's release was actually postponed until this weekend, Valentine's Day weekend. The good news is that you don't have to be familiar with any of the Sonic video games to be completely entertained. Now, some quick tips for parents. First of all, there's a biracial married couple. There's no profanity, but the word sucks is used. There are fart noises, of course, because it's a kids' movie, but it made the kids in the audience laugh every single time. There's talk of formula versus breastfeeding. And despite the movie being a PG film, there's an extensive bar scene with alcohol, bad behavior, and a big bar fight. It's actually a pretty funny scene. There's explosions, destruction, people in perilous situations, and some of the humor for the adults is kind of pushing the edge for really what should be in a PG movie. So you'll have to gauge if you think that's appropriate or not for your kids. Now, some interesting themes worth talking about are friendship, definitely, loneliness, bucket lists. So you might need to talk to your kids about what a bucket list is. And then I think it would be a really fun activity to actually, as a family, sit down and say, what is your bucket list? What are the things that you have on your bucket list, the things you want to do before you kick the bucket? I started my bucket list probably when I was, I don't know, a teenager. And for years, I just would look at my list and think someday. And then finally, I don't know, about 15 years ago, I was like, you know what? Someday is today. And I started picking those things off and putting them on my calendar, on my planner, and making them happen. And much of the stuff on my to-do list involves travel, but not everything anyway. And it's So empowering and fun to cross those things off of my list. And then, of course, I keep adding new things to my list. Anyway, other themes are proving yourself, and a couple of interesting lines that share themes for the movie would be when Sonic the Hedgehog, played by Ben Schwartz, says, "What could possibly be more important than protecting the people you care about?" And then later, Sonic also says, "It's all about family, Tom." Then he's talking to a character named Tom. So, family is obviously a very huge theme in the movie. Now, some things that I really liked are after a very long A list of celebrities who were considered to voice Sonic, the winner of the role was chosen Ben Schwartz. He does a really great job, and he keeps that energy throughout the entire film. He just feels like a kind of a young guy with lots of energy and has a cute sense of humor. So I thought he was really enjoyable. And then the design of Sonic is just really cute. And he's got fast little athletic legs, which makes for a runner, which is his, biggest skill. Now, I've also always really loved James Marsden ever since I first saw him in the movie Enchanted and in Hairspray when they both hit theaters the same year in 2007. This is actually his third live action animation hybrid film, along with the movie Hop. He's really good at acting and reacting to CGI characters. In other words, characters that aren't there when he's acting, which is probably why he was selected to play the leading human role. Now, rumor has it that Jim Carrey really wanted to be in this movie because his daughter has been such a big fan of Sonic while growing up. Jim Carrey's character is described by Sonic as a madman with a mustache from the Civil War. My video gamer friend told me that Dr. Robotnik is supposed to actually be very serious and bad. So he personally didn't like Jim Carrey's comic spin on the role, but I liked it. Rather than playing a one note villain like Robotnik sounds, Jim Carrey actually brings a backstory motivation to the character that is entertaining and allows him to really go all in classic Jim Carrey style. I thought he was really great. I also thought his villain gloves and gadgets were super cool. You get to see Sonic when he's a little kid and when his fur gets all wet and fluffs up. Both super adorable moments. I love the scene with Sonic and the turtle because I used to have three pet water turtles. And so I just laughed out loud. It was just so adorable. And it's towards the very beginning of the movie. And I was like all in, like this is super fun. And it just never stopped. It kept being fun. So that was great. There is a lot of really fun, upbeat music that really supplemented what was going on in this. There's lots of humor for adults and kids. However, some of the humor is a bit snarky and edgy, and it breaks the fourth wall, which is kind of fun. And so, because of that, and because Tim Miller, who actually was involved and made the very first Deadpool movie, he's a producer in this film. And so, a lot of people are kind of calling this the Deadpool for kids movie. I don't know that I would go quite that far, but it's kind of got that edgy humor and again the breaking of the fourth wall that I was talking about. The visual effects team Blur Studio did a really great job with the CGI. There were a couple of moments really just towards the beginning where there was some fake CGI looking stuff, but overall the movie was really well blended between humans and this animation. There's a really funny slow motion scene in the bar, and that kind of action actually has been done better in other movies with other characters, but I was still completely entertained. For Sonic fans, there's definitely a respectful nod to the video games, like talk of flying eggs and lots of other hidden Easter eggs. You get to travel around the world and see exotic sites like Paris and the Egyptian pyramids, the Great Wall of China, San Francisco. There's lots of physical comedy. Parents and kids laughed every time Sonic did the dance move flossing. So definitely keep watching during the rolling credits at the end for kind of a fun cameo surprise. It's about midway through the closing credits. I also really liked how they turned scenes from the movie into what looked like video game footage during the closing credits. And then unfortunately, there's nothing at the very, very end of the closing credits. So once you see that little cameo moment, then you can get up out of your theater chairs and leave. Now, there were just a few things that I didn't really like. First of all, the movie doesn't use any of the current cast from the Sonic video games that have been used since 2010 at Studiopolis. So that's too bad. Then again, if you have never played the video games, you won't miss any of those voices and characters. There are so many shout outs to companies that it kind of feels a little bit like a cash grab, like Olive Garden and Amazon, Optical Illusions Eyewear Store, Comic Con, even. And then there are shout outs for movies and actors like Charlotte's Web, Men in Black, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, a couple of funny lines about him actually, and Vin Diesel. And I'm actually not saying that that's a bad thing. The companies seemed a little bit more like a cash grab, but I love social references to things. So anyway, that's just an element of the movie. I didn't really care for Natasha Rothwell's character. She was always ripping on James Marsden's character and trying to get her sister to divorce him. And James Marsden's such a nice guy. She overreacted to everything, overacted to everything. And I thought she was just more annoying than funny, although the audience that I sat with actually laughed and seemed to enjoy her. And then a minor detail is I thought it would be fun if they would have made a few more stops on the road trip with James Marsden and Sonic together, just like a buddy road trip. They really only make two, and then the movie keeps going. But anyway, it was cute. Okay, I hope that you enjoy this movie if you see it. I think you will. You're going to get to watch Sonic living his best life on Earth. Thanks for visiting, and be sure and visit moviereviewmom.com where you can read a bunch of the funny lines that I wrote that are in the movie and interesting lines that are in the movie. And we just announced a winner to one of our contests. Stay tuned because we've got some free movie tickets and more contests coming up. Bye for now.